All right. This is going to be something. This is If My People, Bible reading, part 207. We are in the book of Acts, and we are in chapter 1, beginning in verse 21 to 26 to start the gigantic chapter 2. Here's 21. Pray on this. This will change everything in your life. Will change much, I'll put it that way. It changed my direction. Therefore, it is necessary to choose one of the men who have been with us the whole time Master Yeshua went in and out among us. They had 12, they lost one, they're going to replace him. Simple as that. It's been read in many, many, many churches, but what you're about to hear has never been read in churches that I could find. Beginning from John's baptism to the time when Yeshua was taken up from us. For one of these must become a witness with us in his resurrection. Okay, point 2, they weekly stand up and speak in the temple and synagogues. That was mentioned. Now it's being said, we lost one, so anyone who saw and witnessed the resurrection will become the next apostle. Okay? And the argument later on, well, Paul was not there. He had a personal conversation with Yeshua for 3 years, plus the road to Damascus. Hello? But we'll talk about that. Verse 23, so they proposed 2 men, Joseph, called Barsabbas, also known as Justus, and Matthias. Then they prayed, Master, you know everyone's heart. Show us which of these 2 you have chosen to take over this apostolic ministry, which Judas left to go where he belongs. Then they cast the lots, and the lot fell on Matthias. So he was added to 11 apostles. Here we go. Chapter 2. Checking my time. Verse 2. Verse 1. When the day of Shavuot, Pentecost, came, they were all together in one place. Now, everywhere you're taught in the world, they were in the upper room, hiding. Remember? Hiding. Suddenly, a sound like a blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. Now, I'm going to go to the audio here, and we're going to go to the, let's see if I can get this right. Technically challenged. Just finished reading it. Here's our comment, and then we'll finish the reading. Did the Christian church, as we're all told, begin on Pentecost, Shavuot, as we were taught in Sunday school? Thousands and thousands and thousands of different churches with all their denominations? Were the disciples all together in the upper room or some other place? Where we were also taught that leaders to actually read the word without adding in false teaching, and you just might find out a totally different truth. Acts 2 is a good place to start. Luke 24:53 says that the disciples stayed continually at the temple praising Yahweh. The Feast of Pentecost, or Shavuot in Hebrew, was just starting in Jerusalem as the book of Acts begins. It was one of the 3 great harvest feasts that every Hebrew male, most Bibles say Jew, was required to attend. See Deuteronomy 16:16. Where would these Hebrew believers, who were continually in the temple courts anyway, have been on the first day of the Feast of Pentecost? Well, they were told to wait, but they also continued to follow Torah. They would have been at the temple. Acts 2, 6 through 12. Notice the word, they were still following some Old Testament Torah. States that huge crowds of scattered tribes and other people from every nation gathered to hear Peter speak. The temple area was the only place where there would have been that much room to gather at the specific times of the day and for prayer. And that's the way Jerusalem had been set up for, thousands of years. Peter told the crowd gathered that it was, move that a little bit. 9 in the morning, which is the first prayer time, which was in the specific times for temple service. In Acts 2:2, the sound of a mighty wind filled the whole house where they were sitting. We just read that. The temple was frequently called the house in the Old Covenant and had been called that for many years before and after, as stated in Acts 7:47. The house, the house. In Acts 2:41, it is written that 3,000 people were baptized in response to the apostles' preaching. Again, this would be just south of the temple, Solomon's porch area, where enough water was available for baptism. Also, water is a big deal. All this evidence overwhelmingly points to the events of Acts 2 taking place on or near the southern stair entrance to the temple. Hundreds of thousands of Hebrews, this includes the scattered tribes of Yahweh, fearing Yahweh-fearing Jews from all over the known world, Acts 2:5, were gathered to celebrate the Hebrew feast of Shavuot, Leviticus 23, which is the Israel, by the way, all of them, not just the Jews. Leviticus 23:15-22. And at this ancient Jewish feast, we'll just call it, Jehovah came in the form of tongues of fire and settled on the new believers. Now, does that sound familiar for when Solomon dedicated the temple? Jehovah had not brought down tongues of fire since Babylonian exile in the temple until this particular Shavuot. Pentecost fell on the same day as the appointed time commanded in Torah by Yahweh to keep Kadosh. It fell into Yahweh's new temples. The disciples and all the other believers, it fell on them, a miracle indeed. This changed everything. A living sacrifice, believers, are now the temple of Yahweh through Yahweh's Son, Yeshua. The Christian church did not start on that day. It actually started back in Genesis. It was renewed by a new Torah, a new covenant, a newer and better covenant. Yahweh now lives in all those who hear and obey. Now, oh gee. Whoops. See what I'm doing wrong here? Got to get rid of that. Sorry. Let's see, how much time have I got? 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Did you catch that? I need a videographer. Somebody knows how to do this. Oh my gosh. To me, it's stunning. It's stunning. The church, they use the word, the Christian started about 330 AD, started using the word church and everything because they wanted to make it different. Well, that was the Jewish age. Now it's the church age. Now it's... No, it's not. It has been the congregation of hearers and believers ever since Exodus 19, when they made the promise, we will hear, we will do all these things you say, Yahweh. And then Yahweh spoke and it scared the bejesus out of them. And then they didn't want to hear from Yahweh anymore. They wanted to hear from somebody else. That didn't please Yahweh very much at all. He wants you to hear from his Son. He wants you to hear from his Son. So the people that rejected Yahweh in Exodus 19 are the same kind of people who rejected Yeshua when he was trying to speak. He spoke. They didn't like what he said. They said yes to everything in Exodus 19, and then they said, no, we can't take this, and we're not going to take this. And then when Yeshua was here, and he came into the temple 3 times, he overturned the tables 2 times, he came into Jerusalem 2 times on a donkey, one day, one the very next day, and then he was accepted as they were saying, Hosanna, 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 save us, save us. They wanted a general to go overturn the Romans, the leaders of the world, and take over the world, and everybody's going to be Jewish. That's not how it's going to happen. Everybody's going to be of Israel, the tribes of Israel, not Jewish. The Jews, the people of Judah, will become jealous of those Christians who hear and obey. And because we hear and obey, they will become jealous. It's very, very important that we bring as many of the Jewish believers who hear and obey into the kingdom. We don't want to reject them. We don't want to put them on a high pedestal above us, because then we'll have to follow what they do. And what they do at this time is they do not believe that the Father's with them. They do not believe in the Son at all. They do not believe in Satan. They believe that people are bad, and that one of the days they're going to be in charge, because they want a Messiah to come in. They want a Messiah to come in and take over the world. And one is going to come in his own name. Yeshua came in the first time in his Father's name and is rejected. The second Yeshua, Antichrist, the last one, there's been probably thousands of them, all given an effort. Everybody wants to jump in. And you want to get in political office today, just give your life to Satan. And then you somehow get into political office. Right? This is exactly what's going on. This is very, very important. You've got to stand up and be strong. Don't be a weenie. Don't just sit back, well, I hope Jesus comes to save me soon. That's exactly what Hasatan wants. It's exactly what he wants. And that's why we've created this. And there's only going to be a remnant of people that will watch this video all the way through from beginning to end. And I knew that when I did it. I'm going to spend thousands of hours putting this together at my full cost, and that's okay. I don't care. I think it's that important. If I can get one out of 100 that watch this video that says, that's right, and then you go off and you start bringing in others, bringing in the real good news, the true real good news into the kingdom. We've got to make our Jewish brothers and sisters extremely jealous, so they jump in and to the fold, and they get grafted back into the root, the tree, the root. Everything was cut off. Only the root, and the root is Yeshua. And everyone that now attaches onto it is of the family of Yahweh. So, verse 4, chapter 2. All of them were filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. Now that's what happened when the Ruach, the Shekinah glory of the Father, came down at the temple dedication. Get it? The temple dedication. This is the disciples. They are now the temples. They're being dedicated. And yes, the Ruach, the Shekinah glory, came down on them. And they were, hello, Mr. Christians, they were not in the upper room created by Helena, a pagan lady, and her son, Constantine, a pagan. He never did fall into Christianity. He did not. Read the books out there on the history of that. Goodness sakes. That's what it's all about. They were in the temple. They were in the temple. And the temple is in them. And they were in that temple area, which that temple fell down and was crushed to exist. I want to make sure I'm not going over. To exist no more. But we are the living temple. We are the living sacrifice. And that's what the book of Acts is being put down now. And now you're understanding it, aren't you? You're getting it. You got it. I can see you at home going, yeah! Yeah. Let me know by email me back. Let me know. Let me know when it falls on you and you get it. Thanks.